This has been such an overwhelming experience to see so many of you outside the venue all day, and you can't really explain that to people that don't have it happen to them, and we're, you know, a very select few these days that are so lucky. I appreciate that. So, for those of you that saw the show last night, we're playing the exact same set list. But halfway through the set, Sara will be changing outfits, so it's going to be incredible. She'll do it live on stage, which is going to up the ante. We'll try to screw up different songs and get the ones we screwed up last night right. So it's going to be in the city where we grew up, and they gave away tickets to this arena concert once, and it was like this like 3-month thing where you had to listen on the radio, and then they would announce where they were going to give the tickets away, and then you had to go there, and then they would give like 2 tickets to each person. And so even though it was like 12,000 tickets, we were hysterical because we were like, we will not get tickets. And my parents were like, they would hear, and then we would go and try to make it to a location to get tickets, and it would be during school hours. And so finally it was on a time where we were able to, it was at a time when we were able to go and get tickets, and my mom took like us and like 85 of our friends and stuffed us all into the 86 Aerostar van and drove us down to the location when your popular vehicle. Yeah, it was a good one. Anyway, so we all got tickets and we were so excited, and a couple weeks later we went to the show, and it was a bunch of Canadian bands, most of which are not playing any longer. And we were joking about it the other night that like all of them had like one song that we knew, but it did not matter because the amount of energy and work that went into getting the tickets meant that we were absolutely hysterical once we got there. And we didn't even have tickets in the bowl, we were like in the bleachers around the bowl. And when the first band came on, like it was like immediate, like we were just at that age where it was like as soon as music started, you started to mosh, you know? But we were like in bleachers, like we were in seats, and so you can imagine the injuries that we got from this. I can't even tell you, I lost count. I fell so many times. Like, and didn't just fall, like, you know, fall and then like I would fall and then people would jump all over me, or I'd like trip and fall downstairs. At one point there was like a full-on like crowd surfing thing downstairs, and like I remember getting into the Aerostar van at the end of the night, and my mom just like taking one look at us and being like, what the fuck? And I used to wear like, I would buy a pair of like vintage cords, you know, for like $3 at Value Village, and I would rip the entire seam all the way up to the crotch, and then I would put safety pins. And so I like go up to the Aerostar van, my hair, which was like super long, was like all tangled, and I know that our mom was in the van, and it was a cool van, like it wasn't like a tinted window, like kidnap van. Anyways, my mom, once everyone found out that my mom was in the van, because we made friends with all the kids in the lineup, but then also we were across the street from like kind of a project, and then all the kids from the projects came over, and then they wanted, which really wasn't like what you're thinking, it was basically just like a lot of like 18 and 19-year-olds that were like cracked out and sleeping on, it was like kind of like a flop house, and so they all found out that our mom was there, and they all went to the van, and so my mom was surrounded by like kids who lived in a flop house and kids who wanted Smashing Pumpkins tickets, and she was a therapist. My mom is a social worker / therapist, and so she started giving counseling, and all I remember is that kids were like admitting that they had just had an abortion, and kids were like, I'm on PCP, and my mom was like handing out numbers for crisis lines and stuff. I just remember going over to the van like it was for an arena, you know, and I mean they were popular, it was the Melancholy tour. People were stoked, yeah, it was super exciting. But I just remember kept going over to my mom's van and like getting like, I was so teenage angst, and I kept being like, what if we don't get tickets? And my mom was like, I mean you're 8th in line. There was no internet, I mean we were gonna get tickets, and we got up. Thank you guys. When I wrote this next one, I sort of, when we finished touring the last record, I had a breakup, and I just was like, I'm not going to write songs about it, because nobody fucking cares, you know, they don't want to hear that shit. Oh, thank you, I appreciate it. But, so I was like, you know, I'm going to write songs about falling in love instead, you know, and that's not what it sounds like, but that's why I do love songs, like, nobody likes me. Anyway, you're the kind of girl that cries like after like 2 dates. I don't know, I hold it together. You know what it is that when I meet someone that I like, I'm so high-strung and intense about it that it takes me a long time, sometimes years. When I do cry, it is ridiculous. It's also adorable, because my nose gets all red. Just kidding, but anyway, what happens when you finish a 5-year breakup is that you start to drink and get tattoos and go dancing. Your family and friends, they start to talk behind your back, and your band asks your sister if you're okay, because they're worried about you. But what they don't realize is that you're fine, because what was happening, the old you was sad and depressed and caged, and the new you is free to explore different things, like as a DJ sometimes. There's nothing wrong with really liking music, and so anyway, you try out new things, like you take your $3,000 bed that took you 10 years to get, and then you use her because people are like, your eyes droopy, what's up with that? And then you're like, oh. Or they say, I suffered or Tegan, they come up to you and they say, are you winking at me? That's true, it did help with the picking up stuff, but when I finished going through that stage and I went back to kind of being like a mixture of those two Tegans, my eye went back to normal, and I stopped drinking tequila, and I put my bed on I had a custom-made bed frame, you know, and I put the mattress on, and I was like, goodbye, early 20s, hello, late 20s, and the eye condition went away, which was exciting, and then a bump formed on my foot, and also with ptosis in the title. Oh, why don't you sing my songs for me too? I mean, my whole story is led up to this. I felt you in my legs before. Said, well, you better take him into your heart or you will burn in the river of hell forever. That's what she said. She was 5. She was 5 years old. Anyways, that did not sound awesome. I didn't know really who Jesus was or what burning in river of hell would mean. But we were totally traumatized. We didn't do very well with change, and so we were like, we didn't even really know what death was at this point, so we were like, whatever that sounds like, it was scary. And so anyways, my mom was really ticked off, and she didn't really want us to know about anything scary because she wanted us to be sweet and not cry or feel scared about death.